Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2024 PVN debate among candidates for the mayor of Luray. I'm Randy Arrington, publisher of Page Valley News, and your moderator for this evening's candidate forum. There are two candidates for mayor in 2024, Stephanie Lillard to my right and Ron Vickers to my left, both current council members on the Luray Council. Page Valley News has published both Q&As and one-on-one video interviews with each candidate here tonight, and you can find them on our YouTube channel under our Page Valley Livin' series or at pagevalleynews.com under the Luray News category. Tonight we seat the candidates side by side for one last public appeal to the voters. We're conducting tonight's candidate forum inside of the second floor conference room inside Jenkins Hall at Laurel Ridge Community College in Luray, and we'd like to take this opportunity to say thanks for allowing us to utilize this beautiful facility. The G3 Scholarship through Laurel Ridge Community College is your pathway to a new future, helping those who qualify pay for school and train for the right career. For eligible Virginia resident students, they'll pay $0 in tuition and fees with the G3 Scholarship. Eligible programs include early childhood education, healthcare, information technology, manufacturing and skilled trades, public safety, and science, math, and engineering. To learn more, visit laurelridge.edu/G3. That's laurelridge.edu/G3. The format for tonight's candidate forum and rules are very simple. We'll give each candidate an opportunity for opening and closing remarks. In between, we'll have a series of questions. During each segment, candidates will have only 2 minutes to respond. During a quick round question, they will have only 30 seconds to respond. Candidates should address their remarks to the camera, which represents our audience. And we'll go ahead and begin this evening's conversation and debate and forum with each candidate having 2 minutes to introduce themselves. We'll start with Ms. Lillard.
Well, thank you, Randy, and thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight and to meet with my opponent here. I look forward to our conversation. So Stephanie Lillard, I'm running for Luray Town Mayor, and a little bit about myself. I'm a lifelong native of Luray, Page County, and got my husband and our two beautiful girls. We've been together, I was thinking about it last night. I believe it's been 25 years, almost 22 years of marriage. And both of our girls have graduated. My husband and I were graduates of Luray High School. And I have had the opportunity to work both privately and publicly here in Luray, Page County. And have spent my last 20 years, if you will, in both working in finance and community economic development. And I've served on council since 2021. It's been a tremendous pleasure, and I look forward to the opportunity to continue to serve.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lillard. And now we'll turn to Mr. Vickers.
Hello, my name's Ron Vickers. I'm also running for the mayor. I'm currently on my fourth term, into the 14th year of being on the town council. I lived my entire adult life here in Luray, and after Leroy Lancaster retired, my fellow council members elected me to be the vice mayor. I serve on the Northern Virginia Regional Commission. I represent the town for regional concerns. I'm on the Airport Commission, and for years I was the LDI rep for the town of Luray. So I find it takes commitment to do a good job, and one thing I trying to do is never miss a meeting. I do like coming to each one well read about what's going on, and it does take a lot of talking to folks, but also listening before I ever make a vote on the issues. And I've never turned down the opportunity to vote. I didn't abstain from anything. Lane and I have 4 adult children that are grown and successful. They're taxpayers, and I just retired from being a public school teacher in July of last year. I taught at Luray High for 5 years before I went to Shenandoah, Frederick County for my last years for my retirement pay. I was a shop teacher, a technology education, and one of the things we did all the time was have to more or less get people to be on the same page and play the game of school so they can enjoy it. I like to think that I got kids to learn how to problem solve, and that's one of the more important things in life. So I've been serving people my entire career, and I hope to continue doing that as your mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vickers. And now we'll jump right into the first question. I'll say the first set of 3 questions deal with the role of the office of mayor. So our first question is, and I find this very interesting given the fact that both of you sit side by side during a Luray Council meeting. So I find this very interesting here. With the mayor only casting a vote in the case of a tie among the 6 members, how do you feel as a council member about potentially giving up your vote on council? And we're going to start this with Mr. Vickers.
Giving up my vote is one of the first things I thought about when I actually made the decision to go ahead and try and be mayor. The mayor is the cheerleader for the town. He's the one that helps to set the agenda, but also to run a fair meeting, give everybody a chance to speak as we should be in Robert's Rules of Order. The mayor should be the one that likes to go out and meet people, to be not always just the cheerleader, but the face of the town in the public view. I know I've been to a lot of company openings, but it's always been Jerry that did the little speech. So I find that he's done a great job, and I hope I can do as much as what he's done.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vickers. And now we'll go to Ms. Lillard. And I will say, if at any point the candidates want me to repeat the question, I will.
Thank you. Well, much like my fellow councilman here, I too struggled with the decision solely because of recognizing that I would lose my vote. And it kept me up a lot of nights before I made the decision, if I'm being honest. That being shared, when thinking about the impact that I could bring to council and to my community with a vote or without a vote, and kind of quite literally made a sheet of pros and cons, my list, if you will. I'm a list maker. And, through that exercise, I was reflecting back on my career where I've had the opportunity to travel the state, and most recently participated in the Virginia Rural Leadership Institute, which was a year-long program, gave us opportunity to travel around rural Virginia and look at communities and successes that they've had. And through that, and thinking about our hometown and the opportunities that exist here and what it takes, it is someone who could be fearless and confident and willing to have the difficult conversations, and to be at the forefront and facilitating that conversation. And I've had over a dozen years of experience as a supervisor, working in management. My understudy is in organizational development, and I've acquired a lot of skill sets through my professional career that I believe will translate really, really well into the mayoral role. And so with that, I think that I can be just as influential without my vote as I can with my vote.
Very well, very well. Thank you, Ms. Lillard. Now we will move on to our second question, still dealing with the role of the mayor. One of the primary jobs of the mayor is to conduct meetings and work sessions, controlling the flow of business and keeping order. How do you think the current mayor has done in this role, and what would you do differently? We're going to start this one with Ms. Lillard.
Oh, forgive me, Mayor Dolphmeyer. No, I'm kidding. He's done a fine job. He's a fine individual. It's been a pleasure to serve with Mayor Dolphmeyer. He is most professional and tactful. He's always very considerate. He listens to our constituency during public comment period. I think he is very generous in that not only does he sometimes allow them to exceed the maximum amount of time, he allows them throughout the remainder of public comment period and sometimes even council discussion to engage with council. And you don't find that in other communities. And some might find flaw in that, but I think it's important that our constituency takes pride and assurance in knowing that we are here to listen to them, that we do care, and that way we demonstrate that is allow them for their voices to be heard, particularly when we're in a setting where we've got a public hearing or comment period. And so thinking forward though about what might I do different. Mayor Dolphmeyer, he's excellent about he'll start the discussion and then he'll turn to council and allow us to have a discussion amongst ourselves and with our staff. And rarely do you see that he will intervene or kind of call order or offer his opinion. He will if we ask, but he generally tends to reserve his opinion and let the council carry the discussion. And I think if I am mayor, that I will tend to probably be a little bit more vocal in that position, trying to facilitate conversation and ensuring that we're not getting carried away and repeating and just being as efficient as we can, but covering our bases to make the most important decisions.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Lillard. Now for Mr. Vickers.
A whole lot of what Stephanie said makes lots of sense. I mean, Jerry is a great mayor. He runs the meetings well. One of the things that I didn't hear is that I like the fact that we know what's going to happen in the meeting. We get the agenda beforehand. I actually get the same agenda that's on the website, so the public knows what it is we're talking about and sees the same information that we see. There are some phone calls or talks to each other, not a great deal before meetings, just about when you see each other, what's happening, what's going on in this case. I feel like I would be, I'd use the same thing that Mayor Doffmeyer does. I'd use parliamentary procedure to keep things in order. We've never had to use the law enforcement to calm down a meeting, so it's nice to know that we're not a dysfunctional council at all. I think we all respect each other, we listen to each other. If we go back to the original thing about losing your vote, I can remember in the 14 years I've been on council, there's only been one tie vote. That was the first one I ever went to. And when Barry Pressgraves had to settle the vote between do we want to enact a cigarette tax or not, it was 3-3. And that was the first thing I saw, and I thought, wow, that happened a lot. We tend to be more 6-0, 5-1, 4-2. And there are times when I admit that I come in thinking one way, and after I hear the arguments of the other council members, through the meeting, I may actually change my mind or know more about to give a better vote. I appreciate the fact the way our meetings have been run, and I appreciate the fact that they're streamed, they're live, so more people can see them. It just makes so much more sense. I welcome that. I welcome all that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vickers. And now we'll go on to our third question, the last one in this first section about the role of the mayor. Another key role of the mayor is to provide leadership and serve as a spokesman for the town of Luray. What do you bring to the table to serve as both a solid leader and a good spokesman? We'll start with Mr. Vickers.
The mayor does have more of an opportunity to set the agenda with the town manager and other employees that we have. One of the things I think the mayor should be doing is that should be looking at what other people do, what the best practices, things that we can develop. A couple of things I'd love to see is us to get recycling back. I don't know why that hasn't been taken care of yet. It was something we've done successfully in the past, and we should do it. I'd like to see the mayor take some leadership in looking into green energy. I'm not saying it's something we have to do, but I think we should take a serious look and see what it entails and if it can be better for this town. I'm a big component of stewardship of the earth, and I believe that as we go along, we'll find that it's more important to keep our tourism in like it is.
Thank you, Mr. Vickers. And now we'll go to Ms. Lillard here for the third question.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I've answered some of this already in a previous question, but again, I will just say my professional career, but also my personal activities and my volunteer service. I've over the last 20 years had the privilege of serving on various boards and leadership capacities to include the United Way of Page County, the Page County Economic Development Authority, the Luray Chamber of Commerce. I've served in various capacities within government where I led a team. Currently, I'm leading a team of 10, and I have always, quite honestly, I've had the privilege of serving with very good people, so it kind of makes it easy. But that being shared, I think that my resume and what I've shared as it relates to my years of service, both public and professionally, has demonstrated my ability to be a good leader for our community. I think that I've exhibited some of the traits and skill sets throughout this last few years that I've been on council. And it's not about the mayor, it's about council and the mayor together. We don't have an executive power does not come with the mayor position. And I look forward to the opportunity to be able to serve in a leadership capacity with our current council.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Lillard. Now we're going to go to our first quick round question. And for this question, the candidates will have 30 seconds to respond and get them acting a little quicker on their feet. All right. If you could wave a magic wand and bring a new business, industry, or attraction to the town of Luray, what would it be? And we start with Ms. Lillard.
Well, this might be too easy, but I live and have for the last 20 couple years on the east end of Luray, and within walking distance to the shopping center, and right across the street from Luray Village Place. I live in the Boonfield, where we have a lot of aging residents, and we are missing our grocery store. So if I had a wand today, we would have a new grocer.
East End
Luray.
Particularly,
yes.
okay. All
yes.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And now, Mr. Vickers.
The magic wand of a business is I can't really decide what people want to put their money into and start and try to be an entrepreneur. I do think we could use continued a couple more restaurants, but more so I think I'm in small manufacturing. I'd love to see more people like start their woodworking business or their crafts business and make a go of it. So that's something that we could support here and maybe bring more people in to see what they do.
All right. Good job. Good job for both of you there in the quick round. Now we go back to our regular question. You'll have 2 minutes each for this one. It is our fourth question of the evening. And in the next section of questions, we're going to be talking about various issues concerning the town of Luray. And if you watched our council debate last week, some of these may be a little familiar to you. This question: do you support the extension of the Hawksbill Greenway out to Yeager Spring, even at a cost of $2 million or more? And we start with Mr. Vickers.
I support the recognition of the history of the town and all the Isabel Furnace means. But I want to say I'm sad that we were not able to get the Greenway extended all the way to Ralph Dean Park. I know right now we're trying to do a walking pathway, biking pathway up Luray Avenue, but I would love to see that happen. I'm not against having a Greenway extended. My wife, my son, and a lot of people I know make daily usage of the Greenway. I do think it comes with an expense of maintenance. We'd have to hire another person to keep that much more like it should be. If the foundation and citizens can find a way to raise a lot of the money, maybe through grants or government other services, then I'm all for it. But for right now, trying to spend that much money out of your taxpayer dollars is not something I'm in favor of.
Thank you, Mr. Vickers. Now for Ms. Lillard.
Thank you. I love the Greenway. My family and I, we spend a lot of time there. I think it is an asset to our community, and I fully support the project. With that being shared, I cannot say today that I would be a proponent of allocating our revenues towards the completion of the project. That being said, much like Mr. Sowers, Councilman Sowers said during his interview, I have faith in the foundation's ability in our community to pull together and to fundraise, to secure grants, and see that project through. And I'm very hopeful because I think that it would be, again, just a tremendous expansion and continued opportunity for our residents to not just get out and enjoy what the Greenway has to offer, but also to appreciate a little bit of history that I think there's some untold stories there.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Lillard. We're going to move right on. You guys are whipping right through these. Our fifth question regarding issues, and again, a familiar question if you watched our last debate among the council candidates. Do you think Luray's police department, and the reason that we bring up the police department is because it is one of two very big departments in the budget with regard to employees and overall cost. Do you think Luray's police department is, in terms of staffing and cost, is it too big, too small, or just right? And we start with Ms. Lillard.
Thank you. I believe it's just right. I think that we're finally in a position where Our staff, we're fully staffed. It's been very challenging the last few years since I've been on council to retain officers, and understandably so, trying to be competitive with wages, as well as just recognizing the danger of the work that they do day in and day out. And but now having adequate staff to where we can have more than one patrolman at night, I think is very important to the safety and assurance of our community. And I recognize that it has been, Mr. Pettit is something that we've spent quite a bit of time talking about. Year over year, we continue to see increase, but we're feeling it everywhere. It's not just with the police department, but it's a necessary investment, and I would hate to see us make reductions there.
Thank you, Ms. Lillard. And now we turn over to Mr. Vickers.
I definitely agree that our police department is at the right size. I have lots of faith in Bo Cook and being the chief. He has a hard job to keep enough officers that want to stay here. And one of the things that he brought to our attention, that if everyone had a car of their own they could take home and not have to do a hot swapping. So we've had that now, and we have all but one officer filled at this time. I don't think they're overpaid. I think that we have good benefits, and it's my opinion that I live in a safe town because of our police department. So I'm all for what they do.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vickers. All right. We're going to go now to our sixth question. I believe after this we'll have another quick round one, but this one you will have 2 minutes to answer. For our sixth question, again, dealing with another department that is a very big part of the budget in terms of employees and cost, and that's one reason that we address it here tonight. With Luray's parks and growing outdoor amenities being one of its crowning jewels, from the Greenway to Ralph Dean Park and Inlawn Park to Lake Arrowhead, how can the town keep the parks and recreation budget from becoming too large, or should it keep growing? And this one will start with Mr. Vickers.
We have a very professional staff, and I've always been told, and I always believe that our ball fields are professional quality, the way they're groomed and kept track of. The Greenway is well kept. And there's lots of events. That's one thing I don't think we think about enough. A good bit of their time goes into almost monthly, a weekend event that has to be set up and taken back down. I think we might need to look into some of the part-time staff being full-time part-time, so that not so much that they can have benefits, but so they can have more security in the job that they do. Pretty much, it's going well. Jen does a great job.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's see. Ms. Lillard, I lost track. Did you answer on the parks?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Finish this up on the parks question.
Happy to. Thank you. Yes, I agree. I think I said it last time in my interview, and I'll say it again. Our town is very blessed with dedicated staff, capable staff, and Jen has been a fearless leader. She's a great addition to the town. For our Parks and Rec has a really good crew, and I know that they support her. As it relates to the question of is it to maintain or to grow, I think that I'm always going to be a proponent of steady growth that can be sustained with the revenues that we have coming in. We don't want to live above our means. I don't do it at home, and I'm certainly not going to do it on the citizens' dime. That being shared, I think that to continue to work with Jen and her staff to ensure that the capital improvements that is necessary are funded year over year. We've talked a little bit about opportunities for expansion within the parks. We recently, of course, have the pickleballs courts, and prior to making that decision, we had entertained the idea of including basketball and other facilities up there. But at the end of the day, what we recognize is that we have quite a bit to offer right now, and I think the priority needs to be with continuing to maintain those properties, ensure that we're taking care of what we have, and that we can afford to continue to do that before we take on any new debts or extend or overextend, if you will. Capacity is always an issue. And as we move forward and looking at demands and opportunities to grow our Parks and Rec, I think we need to start being willing to take a hard look at how we can get creative in generating additional revenues through Parks and Rec. And so we've talked a little bit about Lake Arrowhead and how we might be able to include a fee up there for visitors, not for locals, but for visitors. So I think there's some opportunities to generate some additional revenues that can support the expansion of Parks and Rec in the future.
Thank you, Ms. Lillard. And now we will turn to our second and last quick round question. In this question, candidates will have 30 seconds to answer, and we just kind of want to get a quick off the top of your mind response here. If you could change one thing about Main Street, what would it be?
Parking. If you've been watching some of our recent council meetings, that's been an ongoing discussion. We want growth. We want to ensure that our consumers have a place to park so they can patron our downtown businesses. And it's hard. There's not a lot of land available downtown. But I think there are some ways we could get creative to improve the parking situation downtown.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Lillard. Mr. Vickers?
Stephanie hit it right on the nose. Parking is a major concern. The business leaders I've talked to says if they can ever expect to expand, then they need more parking spaces. I still want to keep track of us doing what we've been doing, is encouraging any of the empty buildings to be either modernized or torn down. Some of the things that we need to do is keep the look of downtown as nice as it can be.
Thank you, Mr. Vickers. We got two more questions here before we get into our final closing remarks here as we move right along, continuing with some other issues. For your seventh question here, evaluate the town's performance in terms of how it attracts and deals with small business owners. Mr. Vickers.
There's been major efforts since I've been on the council to streamline the amount of work that someone has to do to get a business started. I know that the Luray Downtown Initiative makes a great effort to get out and help people, shepherd them through the process, and to put people together that may want to start a business or invest in the town to what we have currently that's open. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vickers. Ms. Lillard?
Thank you. So as you may or may not know, the town does not have paid staff within our town office, within the administration there, for economic development. That being shared, we do support and I'm a proponent of our Luray Downtown Initiative. We have a director and a board there that is available to assist small businesses in that designated corridor. That being shared, I believe that there is some opportunity to continue to collaborate with the county's Department of Economic Development. The town does have an appointee on the Page County Economic Development Authority. Leslie Curley is our representative for the town of Luray, and something that we have spent quite a bit of time talking about is how can we better utilize her to advocate for the town around the table at the county economic development meetings, and again, thinking about where we can partner to make sure that we are leveraging both talents and resources that the county has available to them for business attraction of all sizes, not just small business. But Mr. Vickers mentioned a little bit ago about small scale manufacturing, and there's no reason why we can't have that here in the town of Luray. But to do it, we need to be communicating with our counterparts at the county. And, right now we do have a good relationship, I know, just from previous position that I worked in, with the county as it relates to building and zoning and the permitting requirement. We try to make it as painless as possible. We've got a good staff that understands what needs to be done, and I think they're willing and have demonstrated their ability to work with folks when they come in and trying to figure out what they need to do to have a business in Luray.
Thank you, Ms. Lillard. And now moving right on to our final question before we get into a quick break and then our closing remarks. As Luray goes through what could be a short-term growth spurt or the beginnings of a more substantial long-term growth, what do you see as the key issues surrounding housing that the town could address? We'll start with Ms. Lillard.
Thank you. I would say, and it's, I feel like every meeting there's discussion about the housing crisis. It's not unique to Luray. It's not unique to Page County. We're feeling it all across the country, not just the state of Virginia. As it relates to what the town could do, I think right now we've made some good progress using our American Rescue Funds to do some infrastructure improvements, but there's still more to be done. Our comprehensive plan is due for an update. The county's comprehensive plan is currently underway. I believe they've got an internal group that they've established for updating their plan. I believe the town and the counties need to come together to look at those growth areas and what kind of touches the town limits, and thinking about extension of water and sewer, recognizing the capacity limitations that we have at our current facility, and at what point we're going to have to start making plans for expansion or developing our own. We've talked to the county a little bit about them considering bringing on their own utility. But there are some things that we could do, again, working with the county, primarily thinking about the Economic Development Authority and where we could solicit some grant opportunities or support regionally or state that would be able to do some infrastructure, acquire the land, sell it to a developer at a reduced or even potentially granted based on the capital investment. Also, something that I was thinking about with this increase in the TOT, there's something that says that we couldn't allocate some of those funds towards investing in affordable housing projects. And so again, I've used the comment or the expression today about getting creative, and I think that's what it's going to take, is looking for success models around the state and leveraging the talents and resources that we have here in our own backyard to work with.
Thank you, Ms. Lillard. Now for Mr. Vickers.
As it comes to housing, I think Luray's it's at a point that it could boom or it can get out of control or be smart growth. I appreciate the Luray landing out here, the good number of houses being put up but it has caused us to have to revamp our water and sewage to make that essential service that it is. We've had a lot of discussion about short-term rentals, and I checked today, there's only 58 short-term rentals in the town of Luray, but over 2,500 homes. That's less than 2% of what it is, and I don't see it as big as a problem as I'm hearing it is. I have yet to hear one case of someone that is arguing that anything that we gave as a short-term rental was been a bad thing. I do know that some of them have been started, and then after a year's time they quit getting the license to do it because the market's going to take care of itself. There is a housing boom in my section of the town. Fairview Road is getting new houses left and right, and I think it'll continue to happen. If we keep our taxes low, we'll keep encouraging contractors, investors to come here and to build houses. So I think we're in a good shape right now.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vickers. Now, as we prepare to close out this evening's candidate forum, we will allow each candidate to make a closing statement in just a moment. But first, we want to once again thank Laurel Ridge Community College for allowing us to host this forum in Jenkins Hall here in Luray. Over $8 million in non-loan financial aid was awarded to Laurel Ridge students during the 2022-2023 academic year. With these funding opportunities and one-third the average cost of attending a four-year college or university in Virginia, Laurel Ridge Community College is helping students slash student debt. Start with Laurel Ridge today by visiting laurelridge.edu. That's laurelridge.edu. And now, candidates, you will have one last opportunity to share your vision with local residents, convince voters to cast a ballot for you, and bring up any issues that we have not discussed tonight. And since Ms. Lillard gave the first opening statement, I'm going to allow Mr. Vickers to give the first closing statement.
I appreciate everyone that took the time to listen to us tonight. I hope I answered some of the questions that came forward, and I look forward to continuing to serve the town in whatever aspect it is. I think I'll work hard to point us in a positive direction to help the town have smart growth while retaining that small town atmosphere. I want to make sure that the town is celebrated and everything that we can celebrate. We have fantastic employees, we have hardworking volunteers, and all the many things that you can do while you're in Luray needs to be in a positive manner. I think that Stephanie's right, and that some of the economic development, they could help produce a plan that would encourage other people to advertise what we have. So come November the 5th, I ask you to take the time to vote, and I welcome you checking that box that says Ronald C. Ron Vickers for mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vickers. And now closing remarks from Ms. Lillard.
Yeah, thank you again, Randy, for the opportunity this evening, and thank you all for those that's joined us and will watch this when it's played back. But again, it really has been a privilege to serve, regardless of what the outcome is on November the 5th. I'm grateful for the opportunity to retain my seat and to continue in service to the town of Luray. But what I can say is, if I am successful in the mayoral race, I am committed to leading with intention, to being a professional representing our community, the place that I get to call home, not that I have to call home. I chose to have my family here, to invest here, to have our children here, and I'm very passionate about my community. And I'm committed to making informed decisions, being a good steward of the tax dollar monies, and continuing to increase efforts for community engagement, transparency, all while trying to facilitate smart, sustainable growth, both in town and around the county, quite frankly. So, what's good for me, it's good for my neighbors, and what's good for my neighbors, it's good for me. And so, I want to say I was at a banquet on Friday night for the co-op, and one of the local farmers made the comment in his prayer. He said, and I've not heard this expression, but maybe I suspect others have, but he said, "Together we stick, and divided we are stuck." And I don't know why, but that has really resonated with me, and thinking about how, again, in my leadership capacity, that I can work for my community, and together is where I want to be, not stuck, divided, because of personalities and politics and stubbornness. So I appreciate your support on November the 5th, and you can find my contact information on the Town of Luray website, and I encourage you to reach out if ever I can be of any help, as your mayor or not. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lillard. We want to remind everyone out there watching that this candidate forum was recorded here at Jenkins Hall in Luray on Monday, September the 23rd, and will be airing on Wednesday, September the 25th on our YouTube channel and on our website, pagevalleynews.com. Page Valley News would like to thank both of the candidates who participated in tonight's forum. We feel it is very important in informing the voters here, and we wish them both well at the polls this fall. And I'm probably not supposed to inject my opinion here, but I think honestly that the voters have two very quality choices, and I don't think that the voters are going to lose either way following the election. So again, thanks to both of you for being here tonight. Next week, our Wednesday video on Page Valley News will be returning to our normal Page Valley Living show. We would also like to thank Eleanor Arrington for her work behind the camera tonight. If you enjoyed tonight's video, make sure you hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe to our YouTube channel listed on YouTube at Page Valley News. For Stephanie Lillard, for Ron Vickers, I'm Randy Arrington saying thanks for joining us for tonight's debate, and good night, everyone.